Tonight, the 12 News I-Team is digging deeper into emergency response calls at Phoenix's largest homeless encampment after a troubling weekend in the area.
On Saturday, Phoenix police responded to a fetus killed by fire near 11th Avenue in Madison. And overnight, just 2 blocks over, a tent fire sent one person to the hospital with burns.
Team 12's Erica Stapleton has been tracking police and fire response in the area for months and shows us the toll emergencies take on the neighborhood as we continue our series, Cost of Crisis.
Not a day goes by
and you see how much it's gotten out of control
without someone needing help in the zone, Phoenix's largest homeless encampment.
Nobody wants this in their neighborhood.
We were mid-interview with Bill Moreland in front of his business, Electric Supply Inc. at 9th Ave in Madison.
Hi, 917 West Madison.
When we had to stop so he could call 911.
We have a gentleman trespassing in the parking lot. He seems to be having a fit or a seizure of some type, and we've asked him to leave, and I don't even know that he can hear us. He's in the middle of some kind of an episode.
About 5 minutes later,
he obviously needs help of some type.
Police and fire crews pulled up.
Thanks.
And put the man in handcuffs after he dropped the rod he was holding.
Doing all right?
We were told he'd be taken for an emergency psychiatric evaluation.
I have employees who have been down here for 40 some odd years, and they never felt unsafe until the last 2 years or so.
The biggest change, the growing number of people living in the encampment that surrounds his shop, and with that comes constant calls for first responders. The 12 News I-Team analyzed police 911 data around the zone, focusing in on these 9 key blocks. Since 2019, through June of this year, police responded to more than 4,000 calls for help. Just 5 types of calls account for more than half of the police response: trespassing, welfare checks, fights, assaults, and mental health transports.
I've had an employee attacked and headbutted. I've had another employee have a knife pulled on him.
The I-Team learned that starting in 2022, police were also required to respond to all calls for the fire department too. As of early November, calls for service to the fire department have already eclipsed the 3 full years before it, with spikes in nearly all kinds of calls, including breathing problems, assaults, and heat-related illnesses. In one 24-hour span on one fall day, the I-Team received tips on 3 different fires, 2 of which destroyed encampments.
When you come home to nothing, and you already don't have nothing.
Including Aisha's.
Starting over is very rough.
Aisha said she'd been living on the streets in the zone for about 5 months when an alleged cooking fire from a neighboring tent destroyed her belongings.
We've been through so much. You know, it's a one bad thing after another. And I'm not perfect, but God, you know, I just need a break.
Makeshift fires are a common sight in the zone.
To barbecue or to stay warm, I'm one of them. My bones, they hurt really bad.
But if they get out of control...
Engine 3, Fire Channel 5 for a debris fire in the shelter, 230 South 12th Avenue.
My biggest concern is how many people get hurt. Personally, I'm not that worried that it's going to burn my building down. It's more going to hurt the people who are living in the tents.
Bill is trying to be part of a solution, serving on the board of directors at Central Arizona Shelter Services, or CAS, the state's largest homeless shelter in the heart of the zone.
What we need to do is we need to build a lot more shelters.
CAS has plans to add more than 200 new specialized shelter spaces for seniors and those experiencing mental illnesses over the next 2 years. In October, the city of Phoenix also approved a new shelter space and tiny home pilot.
Our goal is to have it open by May of 2023.
But it's still not enough right now to cover the more than 900 people on the streets in the zone and hundreds more unsheltered throughout the city.
We're gonna end up paying for people to be out here on the street one way or another. I mean, we can pay for the fire department to come down and put out a tent fire, which is about the worst way to handle it, or we can pay to have the people have someplace to go so that they're not setting their tents on fire.
The need has never been greater for Aisha and her partner.
We're actually waiting for housing.
But for now, they're left in the ashes.
The city supposedly, I guess, they're gonna come and clean up.
Waiting for a chance to start from scratch yet again.
One day at a time, right?
There are certainly no easy answers to this, but it's only going to get colder over the next few months here. And so these fires, I mean, how common are they?
Well, Mark, they're expected to increase as the season gets colder. And we're actually out this morning at an encampment that burned multiple tents, or a fire that burned multiple tents. So it's expected to get worse as it gets colder.
Now back to Aisha. Her area was burned down by a neighboring fire. Did that ever get cleaned up?
Yes, so the city does clean up the areas that have been burned, and they also clean more than that. They do street cleaning, and that's something we're going to be getting into tomorrow night on our next piece in Cost of Crisis. But some neighbors in the area are saying the cleaning isn't enough. The city might come through, and just hours later, it seems like they maybe were never even there. So a lot of things to talk about and a lot of issues that these neighbors are facing.
Yeah, really sad. All right, Erica, thank you for that report.